Good evening. This is my final for Educating Exceptional Students, my media clip project. My objective that I chose was the candidate will utilize strategies that promote learning, social acceptance, motivation, and self-esteem in students. The first article that I came across was How Can Teachers Foster Self-Esteem in Children? They used two strategies to promote self-esteem. Positive charismatic teacher, which includes making sure that we must be comfortable in making accommodations when needed. Rather than impose punitive consequences, we must ask how to minimize the despair that students experience each and every day. We must strive to understand the nature of the students' learning problems, and don't deny the students' problems, but recognize the importance of using the students' strengths as an important component. Actively invite and involve students in the process of their own education. Nurturing self-esteem and resilience at school. It talks about teachers and parents appreciating the nature of the student's learning disabilities. Help the student understand their unique learning strengths and weaknesses, and make appropriate accommodations in school programs. It also talks about the accommodations that minimize success. Student, teachers, and parents must understand the child's strengths and weaknesses and arrive at common expectations and goals, and recognize what has to be done to reach these goals. Teacher decision-making, problem-solving. Choices and decisions must be present if teachers are to help students with learning problems gain a feeling of ownership and become self-educated. Have students contribute. When students feel they are making a positive difference in schools, they are more likely to be motivated to do well and are more willing to take appropriate risks in learning. And it's okay to make mistakes. If students develop a more positive attitude towards school. The next article I found was 5 key ingredients for improving student motivation. Within this article, I found a great quote that I really feel like sums it up. Motivation is probably the most important factor that educators can target in order to improve learning. The first component is the student. It talks about the intrinsic motivation, which is the desire to be involved, find out more about their interests, and figure out the complexity of a topic, and create social bonds. Extrinsic motivation is to meet others' expectations, to do what is one told, and to be publicly acknowledged, and avoid more work than necessary. Some others are various individual and social factors, the hierarchy of needs, perceived well-being, efficient use of energy and focus, purposeful connection with work, conscientiousness and achievement, public speaking competence, their study times and habits, lecture attendance, and comprehensive long-range educational plan. The second is the teacher. Mark Twain said, "The really great make you feel that you too can become great." The students display more motivational benefits from teachers they like over teachers they dislike. Montevideo in 1998 said that. That's also located in the article. And teachers should do unto others as they would want done unto themselves. The third is the content. The content must be accurate and timely. Should also be relevant and useful to students in their lives. Method and process. The method and process is the way in which content is presented, the approach used for instruction. There's 2 basic approaches to this. Creating a classroom structure and institutional method that provides for optimal motivation, engagement, and learning, and help the student to develop tools that will enable him to be self-regulated. The fifth is environment. And Dr. Zonia once said, "To stay motivated, you must fight self-doubt, poor discipline, fear, and any other ghost." Within this, it talks about creating an effective environment. And by doing that, you use engaging classroom activities, decrease peer aggression, encourage critical thinking, move from simple to more complex problems, and develop positive attitudes. Teaching strategies to promote learning is my fourth website. Within this, there's 9 strategies you can use. Instructional match, which is challenging the student but providing enough success to keep the student confident and invested in learning. Scaffolding. Individual instruction. Scaffolding is individual instruction modifications. This is where you reduce the number of problems or use technical aids. Those are just 2 examples of scaffolding. When you use technical aids, you can use like word processing software. Cooperative learning groups that pool group knowledge to complete an assignment is another part of scaffolding. The next is step-by-step. This is exactly what it talks about, is step-by-step. You give it step-by-step instructions. So you're not giving the entire instructions all at once, you're giving it broken down into 1, 2, and 3 parts of the instructions. Modeling and demonstration. This is where the explicit strategies come in. Performance and feedback. This is the prompt awareness and feedback. You see something good, you compliment. You give them feedback on something that they've done well. Opportunities to drill and practice to strengthen fragile skills. Use game-like activities, real-world applied assignments, or themes or topics that the students find interesting. Talk-through activities. This is where the students have to talk through every step. So you give them a problem-solving assignment, and they have to talk you through every step about how they arrived at their answer. Periodic review. Move to a more challenging subject after mastery, but review previous material periodically. So you master a chapter, you get through a chapter, you move on to something else. In that review, you go back and review the previous chapter along with current chapter knowledge. Progress monitoring. Through curriculum-based assessment, accuracy and completedness of assignments, talk through demonstrations of problem solving. The fourth and last article that I found online is called Peer Supporting an Inclusive School Climate. Within this, they talk about 2 benefits. Benefits for students with disabilities and benefits for students without disabilities. Some of the examples that they give with students with disabilities, there's a whole list of them, but these are the 5 that I found most important. Students with disabilities need to create friendships. They need an increased achievement of their IEP goals. They need greater access to general curriculum, greater opportunities for interaction, and a higher expectation. I feel as though with friendships, this helps build their self-esteem. It also helps them in school because they have friends. The increased achievement of their IEP goals sets standards because it goes along with higher expectations, because these students need to have high expectations just like every other regular student does. They need more access to the general curriculum. I don't believe that keeping children with disabilities secluded is beneficial to them because they need to learn how to operate and succeed out in the real world by being included in the real class curriculum so they can learn how to act around other students. Benefits for students without disabilities. The 5 that I found most important were respect for all people. Within this, I feel that today's students are lacking respect, and that's partly from the way they were raised, but part of our society as well. So a benefit is if we can get them all to respect other people. An increased understanding and acceptance of diversity. This can go to students, other students that have diversity. It can go to the real world, outside world. They need to be able to accept, whatever comes along their way and the diversity that comes. Prepare all students for adult life in an inclusive setting. I feel 2 and 3 go hand in hand together. The 4th is greater academic outcomes, and the 5th is all students' needs are better met and greater resources by everyone. My last slide is my Works Cited. This is where you can find all of my articles and any other information from the articles that you would like. I really enjoyed this class this year and I learned a lot, and I can't wait to proceed with my educational schooling, and I hope you have a great summer. Thanks.